Rocket Money and Monarch Money both promise to help you take control of your finances, but when you put them side by side, the way they work couldn't be more different. I tested both so that you could see which one actually matches your money management style. So whenever I try a new platform like Monarch or Rocket Money, the first thing I do before I even get deep into the features themselves and test things out and use my own style is to dig through the real user reviews of other people trying the platforms. And not just like the glowing ones that the platforms will put on their homepage as their marketing, right? But the one-star complaints, the deep and dirty stuff, the frustrated rants, the ones that are like, oh, I'm done with this app, right? All that negative posts and feedback. Why? Well, just because that's usually where you'll find the deal breakers that no one advertises or that you won't get to know about unless you look down there. So for Monarch Money, I looked around and one review caught my eye. This user said that he actually liked the app, logged in daily, loved customizing his account, and enjoyed visualizing the data, but then he just felt that $100 a year was too much for what he used. He mostly just stuck to cash flow, net worth tracking, and transactions. He didn't need budgeting tools, partner access, or recurring expense tracking. His suggestion is just to offer a simpler, cheaper tier. Now, I get it. If you only tap into a fraction of Monarch's capabilities, you might feel like you're paying for extras that you don't use. But in my experience, most people start simple and then grow into the features. The real magic of Monarch is how the tools connect. You might not need partner access today, but once you start mapping out a long-term financial plan, you'll wish you had it. And this wasn't a common gripe either. Like, most reviews skew positive because to many users, Monarch actually delivers. One user said that he's tried Copilot, Quick and Simplify, Empower Personal Capital, and Wallet by Budget Bakers over several years, but Monarch was the only one that he renewed. He called it power user-friendly and said that it rewards you for learning the deeper features. Another user mentioned something that hit closer to home for me. They dealt with chronic connection issues in other finance planning apps, but Monarch not only fixed theirs, they improved the communication so you could actually understand what's wrong and how to fix it. That alone has saved me from hours of head scratching. Now, when I looked into Rocket Money, the most critical review I found was from someone who lost access to his phone number tied to the two-factor authentication, and basically without it, he couldn't log in. And he accused Rocket Money of stealing their money. Sounds pretty harsh, right? Like, if that happened to me, I would be very frustrated. But Rocket Money's support actually replied to this comment and offered to help update the contact info so that the account could be restored and so that they could get their money back. So my take, I think this situation is more of like an unfortunate hiccup than evidence of bad faith or anything really chronic. And on the brighter side, like many of Rocket Money's fans just love the quick wins that you get from this finance planning tool and didn't have any of those other issues. One guy saved almost $300 because Rocket Money spotted a YouTube TV subscription that he hadn't realized that he had. That's their bread and butter, by the way, identifying and eliminating hidden expenses. So reviews tell me this. Monarch Money wins people who want depth, customization, and future-focused planning. Rocket Money shines for those who want instant savings and subscription cleanup. Neither is bad, and both of them are pretty good, actually. But they each serve very different financial mindsets. But after reading all that, I actually just had to test them for myself to see what they offer, right? So I went deep into the tools that they offer, and there's where my Monarch Money versus Rocket Money comparison took a different turn. So when I first loaded Monarch Money, the dashboard felt like mission control for my finances, right? Everything, checking, savings, credit cards, loans, investments, just all synced into this one clean interface that I didn't have to jump between different things for. No more hopping between bank apps, brokerage accounts, and budgeting tools, right? It's all just there in one place. But the real advantage is that Monarch works with 3 data providers. So that's Plaid, Finicity, and MX. Why does that matter? Because if one connection breaks, I can just switch providers and restore the link. Rocket Money connects accounts too, but it doesn't give you the same redundancy. If your main connection fails there, you might be stuck waiting on support. One of my favorite Monarch features is the ability to transfer your transaction and balance history when switching data providers. I've been burned before in other apps where a connection broke and I lost my entire history. Monarch solves that. That's not all. Budgeting in Monarch comes in two flavors: category budgeting and flex budgeting. I use category budgeting for fixed expenses like rent and insurance, and flex budgeting for variable costs like dining out or entertainment. It's smart because life isn't static. Some months your grocery bill is light and others it spikes. Flex budgeting really handles that without you feeling like you failed your budget, right? Rocket Money's budgeting really works well for straightforward categories, but it doesn't offer the same flexible approach as in here. But cash flow tracking in Monarch is really where I really started to see these patterns, like how my quarterly freelance payments created big surplus months that I tended to overspend. The app breaks down everything from merchant, category, or account, and even calculates your savings rate. So that's the kind of insight that keeps you from making the same mistakes year after year. Recurring expense tracking is smooth too. As new transactions sync, Monarch automatically detects and categorizes subscriptions and bills. And their Amazon Retail Sync extension, absolute game changer. Like, instead of jumping every Amazon order just like into shopping and putting it all there, like, it actually breaks purchases into precise categories. So the blender you bought goes under kitchen, not like under the same label as your kids' school supplies, just because you bought everything on Amazon, right? For investments, Monarch automatically imports holdings where possible, but if your brokerage isn't supported or the data is incomplete, you can also manually add them. That means I can track my retirement accounts, my taxable portfolios, and even side investments all in one place. Rocket Money, in contrast, doesn't really emphasize investment tracking, and Monarch keeps evolving too. They've added credit score tracking, iPad support, visual budget enhancements, and a bill sync feature to monitor statement balance and payments. On the other hand, Rocket Money's unique strength lies in its bill negotiation service. You hand over your bill details and their team works to lower it. No waiting on hold, no awkward calls for you. So if your goal is purely to cut costs, even just that is a compelling reason to consider Rocket Money. But for me, Monarch's just all-in-one planning, goal tracking, and deep customization make it just the more complete financial tool. But that doesn't mean that any of these tools are perfect or even necessarily better than the other. Like with Monarch, its flaw is also its strength, right? It's really deep. If you just want a quick budget tracker, you might feel overwhelmed at first. But once you learn it, once you lean in and spend some time, the complexity pays off eventually, right? But you gotta spend some time in it. Rocket Money's main limitation is that it's more of a short-term fixer than a long-term planner. Like, if you want to negotiate bills and cancel subscriptions, it's fantastic. But if you're trying to build a 10-year financial roadmap, maybe Monarch is your best bet. Now, when it comes down to the cost of Rocket Money versus Monarch Money, both software falls into the serious tool range. And while Monarch is priced for people investing in their financial control long-term, Rocket Money for people is mostly to save cash quickly instead of, for the long term. So to check out either of them, just check the links in the description for their most current rates and available promos that are going on. I'll keep it updated so that you can lock in the best deal for either option. So my final take in this Rocket Money versus Monarch Money comparison is that both tools are solid, just for different needs. If you want to plan your finances, track every detail, and see how today's decisions affect your future, Monarch Money is the way to go. But if you're all about cutting waste now, Rocket Money is your friend. Check the links in the description to grab the best offers and start taking control of your money today.